So you're thinking about moving to Bend from somewhere in Southern California, primarily the Los Angeles area. Los Angeles. Kind of like Jerry Jones, the way he says it. You know, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys? Just kidding. But anyway, we want to talk about the cost of living comparison between LA and Bend today, Central Oregon, Redmond, etc. But LA obviously is huge. There's so much to LA. There's so many different flavors of LA. But we're using LA as kind of the barometer right now. Then you can compare where in the LA area that you live and compare that to LA, and then relay that up to what it's like to live in Bend, cost of living wise. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, we're going to be starting this video right now. If this video sounds like it's for you, stick around. We're going to get after this comparison right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good and the bad, the cost of living in Bend versus LA, then subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell below so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Bend, Oregon. My name's Ryan and I've lived in Bend for over 30 years. My business partner, Zach, and I, we get calls and texts every day from people just like you, looking for help on making their smooth move to Bend or anywhere else in Central Oregon. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or even set up a Zoom meeting. We'd be happy to help you make that smooth move to Bend or anywhere else here in Central Oregon. So, like I said in the video intro, we're going to be doing a cost of living comparison to Bend as it relates to Southern California, primarily LA and the LA Metroplex. I know LA is a behemoth of an area. There are tens of millions of people in the LA Metroplex, and then we have a smaller amount of people, of course, in the Bend, Oregon area. So why would we compare the two? Well, frankly, it's because so many people come and visit from Southern California, the LA area, end up wanting to live in Bend or somewhere else in Central Oregon. So that's what we're going to be doing today to give you guys some context as to what it's really like to live here and the cost of living as it relates to where you're coming from in the LA area. So what we're going to do is a little screen share and we will be off to the races. I've got my trusty dusty tool here. It's called bestplaces.net. It's a website I like to point clients to that are moving to the Bend or Redmond area. And I don't necessarily know much about the market or where they're coming from a cost of living perspective. So I use this tool and we just do a little cost of comparison analysis to give each other a better understanding as to what they're coming into versus what they're leaving in their previous area. So again, cost of living, this is what I did here. I just plugged in a few little factoids, LA versus Bend, with the average salary of $100,000, and then just wanted to compare what it would be like to live in LA. If you were making $100,000 in Bend, it would be $134,000 in LA. You can see here it's a 34% difference right there. So interesting. But let's just jump into it. Hey, 97,000 people in Bend according to this website. There's probably 105,000 in our local area, and there's 200,000 people in our county, Deschutes County. So that's our metropolitan area, 200,000 people. And then LA, of course, has 3.9 million in their city proper, but there's probably 10 million people in the area, maybe 20. We're using like the Inland Empire as part of the LA metropolitan area, the Orange County area. I know Orange County people don't want to be associated with LA, but we're using the whole area as a means of comparison today. So there's probably 25 million. Let me know if I'm wrong. I'm usually wrong when it comes to stuff like that when I'm just shooting from the hip, but let me know in the comment section below. There's probably that volume of people. So obviously apples to oranges when it comes to population, but again, there's so many parallels as it relates to Bend versus LA. We've got multiple commercial flights that are direct right to LA, Burbank, San Diego on a daily basis from our airport here in Redmond. We are just a couple hours away in terms of connectivity. And so much closer than we think when it comes to stuff like that, even though the population discrepancy is so high. So let's just jump onto the next one. $52,000 median income in the Bend area versus 49. I know again, LA, way all over the map when it comes to average income. And if you're watching this, there's a good chance that 49,000 has nothing to do with where you're at, but who knows? I digress. The reality is that LA has so many different pockets of culture, and there are areas where it's significantly higher, significantly lower. But again, 52 versus 49, the national average is 53 here. The average age, okay, 38 versus 34. bigger towns, bigger metropolitan areas are probably going to have a higher volume of younger people. And so that's about a 4-year difference there. We won't read too much into that. Okay, the average home price. This is what a lot of people want to know about when they come to these videos, these cost of living comparison videos. 666, which is relatively accurate right now in Bend, versus 912. Okay, and then the national average is 338. So you can see the differences there. We got a lot of clients that will end up moving from Southern California. They've lived there for decades in the same house. They have their house paid off, or they're close to having it paid off. They sell it for a significantly higher number than what they bought it for, and they're coming up to Bend, and they're going to buy a house with cash, or Redmond, buy a house with cash, and then they have extra income or extra proceeds from their sale that they can use for retirement or some other project or something else. But again, that's a typical thing, not unusual. Okay, Los Angeles housing costs are 37% more expensive than in Bend. The average commute is 15.6 minutes more. I think the housing cost here, that includes rent, but we're going to see here that the it's actually a higher number here in just a second. So if we zip over here to the actual cost of living comparison, again, we did $100,000 income for Bend, which would equate to a similar lifestyle in LA would be $134,000. But what we go down here, this is the cost of living index right here. Interesting here. Okay, what this number represents is basically a comparative number compared to the national average. Every category that you're going to read here, whether it's food, groceries, housing, utilities, transportation, taxes, childcare, okay, it's all compared to the national average of 100. So if it's below 100, it's below the national average for that respective category, and vice versa. If it's above 100, it's going to be a higher cost of living than the national average for that respective category. So Bend, West Coast, right in between Seattle, San Francisco, LA, very, very conveniently located, isolated a little bit on the other side of the Cascade Mountains as we relate where we're at in comparison to other cities in Oregon. But the reality is that we are, our infrastructure with airports is great. Right now we have direct flights to all those major hubs in the area, and we're just an hour to 2 hours away from all of them. So we are right here in the thick of everything on the West Coast. So it's going to be a little bit higher of a national average when it comes to cost of living because we're such a desirable place to live. Okay, 131 versus 176 in LA. So 34% less than LA, like we talked about earlier. And if we scroll down to some of the actual miscellaneous expenses, things that you're gonna have to deal with on a daily and weekly, monthly, yearly basis, overall index 98 versus 126 here. That's, let's see, that's for renting. Okay, food and groceries, 102 versus 104, relatively similar. Okay, we won't read too much into that. And about the national average, just a slightly above the national average as it relates to food and groceries. Okay, housing, 193 versus 298. This is what I was getting at earlier. The reality is that it's a 54% increase when it comes to housing in LA versus housing in Bend. So you're going to move up here, you're going to have a pleasant surprise. You're going to be looking around for houses and you'll see a noticeable difference when it comes to the cost of a home here versus the cost of the same style of home in LA. 54% less. That's a big number right there. And you're going to have all the other added benefits of living in Bend that getting out of LA is your motivation for. So renting, same, 120 to 200. Okay, 120 is actually closer to 100, the national average, than I expected. What that tells me is that rents all across the country are really, really high right now because Bend feels like it's high. But if we look at it compared to LA, it is significantly less, 66% less to rent a similar style unit in Bend as it would relate to LA right now. Crazy, just crazy numbers. 666,000 as our median home price right now as of this month, May of 2023 versus 912. If we go over to our Beacon report here, this is our monthly data sheet that tells us exactly what the facts are about what's going on in the local Bend housing market. What you see here is our median home price is actually 669. You can see it tapers back about a year to our peak. During that certain pandemic, 773,000 was the peak home price all time for Bend. Okay, right now in LA it's 912. So even at our peak, we are significantly less than what the median home price in LA is. When you choose to move up here and start looking around for homes, you are going to have a fun time looking around for homes that fit what it is you want to have for your lifestyle, because you're going to know that you're going to be paying that much less than what you're used to paying for in LA. So we scroll down here. This is our number of sales. We're starting to see an uptick again. You can see back in over the last 12 to 36 months, just the activity was all over the place, but it was very high compared to historical averages. during certain times of seasonality, right? Obviously the summertime is when the majority of the activity happens. What you see here is, up to 300 units sold per month. Crazy numbers for a small town like Bend compared to LA. I mean, although we are growing like crazy. But this is the big one that tells me everything. The average time on market is under 10 for the majority of the last 36 months. Just crazy. We saw a little bit of an uptick here. There's a delay. I think people are kind of shocked and spooked out of the market for a short amount of time when interest rates went up. You can see here in early 2023, and now things have kind of resolved. We're going back into a heavy and busy activity season here in the summertime. But if we scroll down to Redmond, of course, Redmond is right next to Bend. It's the sister city, little brother, if you will. Same amenities, same outdoor lifestyle, same everything Bend has when it comes to Central Oregon, but Redmond is significantly less when it comes to the cost of a home. You can see here our median home price right now in Redmond is $469, as the median home price in Bend is $669. So a huge difference right there, about 15 miles apart. Again, same trend lines, all-time highs here, all-time high here. And then we kind of dissipated a little bit, and we've corrected about 15% correction, just the same way Bend was. But what you're going to see is all the other trend lines are pretty much the same. Median days on market, under 10 for the majority of the last 36 months. Just crazy talk, crazy numbers here we're looking at here. But the reality is Bend and Redmond are a very desirable place to live. Doesn't matter if you're coming from LA or Seattle or San Francisco or somewhere else, maybe somewhere in Oregon. That's where the majority of people relocate from, is Oregon, Portland, Eugene, etc. But again, what we want to do is just provide that context. So if we continue on with our cost of living comparison between LA and Bend, you're going to see here utilities 83 versus 93. Okay, both of those numbers are under the national average of 100. Okay, that's not so bad. Transportation 82 versus 165. Transportation in LA is crazy. And the commute time is got to be way longer than, say, 30 minutes like this website is suggesting. I go to LA multiple times a year, and I feel like I'm in the car for 45 minutes at a minimum just to go a few miles sometimes, especially during heavy traffic periods. And there are always heavy traffic periods, but again, it's sprawled out. It's all over the place. So you're going to be driving significant amounts of time while you're down there. Obviously, you know this if you're watching this, and Bend is a little different. We don't have a freeway. We've got one little kind of north-south byway, but the reality is it's nothing compared to LA. So pretty wild numbers there, 100% difference. It's probably 200% for all we know. Health 97 versus 90K, both under the national average. We won't look too far into that. Taxes. Okay, taxes in LA versus taxes in Bend are going to be significantly different. They're two different jurisdictions, but what I can say is that they're going to be significantly less. You can see that 31.8% less in Bend versus LA. Childcare is crazy. Like there was an article in the paper not too long ago that suggested that for every 100 children that needed childcare locally, there were 17 spots available in childcare facilities. So what you see are a lot of mom and pop style childcare facilities popping up, whether they're running that out of their house or maybe a facility. But the point is like, it is a crazy market right now. There are kids, there are daycare providers that are charging $2,000 a month for a single child. That's probably similar in LA. Let me know what you think, but we're talking about just mom and pop style. Some of them aren't even licensed, but the reality is and that's okay if you're following certain guidelines that allow you to do that without a license. But point is that there is a huge demand for it, and there's just not a lot of availability right now. Miscellaneous expenses, entertainment, eating out, etc., things you do on the weekend for fun, 101 to 104K, kind of in the same ballpark. But again, this just kind of gives you guys a perspective as to what's going on. Bend versus LA. Okay, you're moving from LA. That's awesome. You're tired of the grind, the rat race, all that stuff. We've got a little bit of that here in Bend, but it's nothing compared to what it's like to be on the freeways or locked up in congestion with all the people in LA on a regular basis, among the other things that are not so great about living in a huge city like Los Angeles and the surrounding metropolitan area. So again, we want to provide this context for you guys. We love the fact that you're here watching these videos. We want to give you as much perspective as we can. If you're thinking about moving up to Bend from LA or somewhere in Southern California or anywhere, please reach out to us. We want to help you guys. Our goal is to meet you where you're at, provide as much information as possible so you can hit the ground running upon your arrival. I am so thankful. Zach and I are so thankful that you guys watch these videos, and we hope you're getting value out of them. Please like them. subscribe to them. You know, the majority of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel yet, and that's totally okay. But leave a comment. Let us know what you want us to do next. What type of content do you want to see? What do you want to see about Bend? What do you want to learn about Bend and Central Oregon? We want to provide that information and value to you, so when you do get here, you're able to have a firmer grasp on what's going on in this local area. We're so thankful again that you're supporting this channel. We will continue to do these videos every single week. That's what we've committed to doing. For you. It starts with you guys. Reach out to us, call us, text us, email us. Let us know when you're ready to take the next step. We want to help you with that. That's our goal with this channel. Again, thanks for watching. If we don't see you around town sometime, we will plan on seeing you guys on the next video. Thanks and have a great day.